Yeah, I hear you say you got an echo. Hello, everyone. I'm Paul Wizzo, and we have an echo. Just mute your mic for right now, then, and we'll see what happens. All right, test. We still got the echo somewhere. Let me get this guy back on. Y'all hold up. We some technical difficulties here. All right, King, you there? No, I was trying to get the guy. Everyone. Okay. I don't know what is going on here, young guys. That's to deal with the live. Okay, well, let me go ahead and do this intro right quick, and then we'll try to work him on in, try to work everybody in, and see what's going on. Hello, everyone. I am Paul Wizzo, and welcome to Wizzo Talk. If you'd like to subscribe to Wizzo Talk, the link is in the description or strolling right across the bottom of the screen. Just make sure you hit that notification bell because I'll post according to my guest availability rather than on a fixed schedule. And remember that it's always free, 100% free to like, share, and subscribe. And if you'd like to be a guest on the show, make sure you hit me up in the comments. And don't worry about the topic because I have plenty of them. And y'all, we are still see if we're going to have some echo. I'll turn my volume down or whatever, see if we can get this thing working right. And with that being said, let me come on with my first guest intro. Cree. You got to unmute your mic.
That was so funny. I've never done that before. First time for everything. That it is Cree 2-1 boom coming back at y'all. Thank you, Paul Wizzo, for having me on. I ain't been on in a minute, but I'll be back. Let's get it.
Already, that's what's up. And Cree, I put your link to your podcast in the chat. So if anyone watching it now or they watching it later, they can click on that. It'll take them also right to your podcast.
Much love, friend. Much love.
All right, let's go on Miss Brandy.
Hi, everyone. This is Brandy, local educator in the area, also a distributor for It Works Health and Wellness. So if you're looking to make some changes, hit me up. I appreciate the opportunity of being on the podcast today, and I look forward to what we're talking about.
All right, I know she's ready for school. Let's get started. All right, let's meet Miss Dawn.
Hi, y'all. I'm Dawn. I didn't have an intro, but I work for the VA and I am a mom of two, and we're very interested in this topic.
All right, cool. That's what's up. That's your intro. Your name is Mom Two. Hey, that's good. All right, let's go ahead and meet Miss Sienna.
All right, I'm Sienna. I'm also an educator. This is going to be my third year in education. I'm a head track and cross country coach, and super excited to talk about today's topic. And that's also my dad. So.
Who your dad?
There you go. Lord Jesus, take the wheel.
Who her daddy? Who's daddy? You her daddy?
I'm that baby Pappy.
You daddy, Pappy?
Hey,
Well, pleasure to meet you, darling.
So y'all, it was supposed to be two other guys on here. The other guy was messaging me, say he's having trouble with his his sound. But when you wait to the last minute, there's nothing that I can do about that. And everybody knows Seven. Seven was supposed to be on here, and the guy that's not on right now, he was one of the main ones that said he had a lot for this topic, and he was ready to come on last month. So now I'm talking about co-parenting, and I don't have any of my guys on here. But hey, Cree, you've been here before. It's just how it goes. The show must go on. You know, you get a lot of yeses, and then when time to come, you get some no's. So what we're gonna have right here now, I'm just gonna have the women input, the moms, because everyone has kids. So maybe some guys will chime in. I don't know. So, but here we go. I'm gonna start out with my first little old question and gotta ask you guys. And what I do is I just kind of work my way around the room to see who has a comment on what I kind of bring forward. Okay, So when co-parenting, who has the final say so on who the child gets to visit and why? For example, if the daughter-in-law doesn't get along with the mother-in-law, who has that final say so? Does the dad has any say so in that, or just the mom gets to say no? He's not going. She's not going over there. My daughter's not going over there. My son's not going over there. Who has that final decision in the co-parenting? And let me go right here with Miss Creed on that first.
Well, first of all, I like to think that the parents have a good relationship. The parents.
Okay.
And the focus is what's going to be best for the child, mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever. So if every time we send the child to your mama, the child come back with some bad habits, like say for example, mom let me drink or eat candy all day, like I think that would be something we'd have to talk about and discuss. Like I wouldn't want to keep the kid from your mama, but if we're not with the kid, I don't think I'll be sending my kid over there. Does that mean I have final say? Absolutely not. But the goal should be what's best for the child.
Okay, I got a little bit more
Yeah,
there
answer
before
that.
we work our way on it. Let's go to Miss Brandy. What's up? What you think on that?
The way that we just jump into the scenario versus let's discuss what healthy
Right.
co-parenting look like, okay? Let's talk about that first. But I think that in terms of this situation, it really depends on the co-parenting relationship that the parents have, because the struggle comes in when you don't have a healthy co-parenting relationship, and the dad's mom wants to get the kid, but the mom doesn't want the baby to be over there, or and vice versa. So we first have to establish what type of co-parenting relationship we have, and then like Cree said, whatever is best for the child is what we are going to do. If little Jimmy is going over to the grandma's house and coming back acting up, we gonna have to have a conversation with moms, which is usually a more difficult conversation, because raising your parents is a different topic for another day. um but you got to do what's best for the child.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna come back to that, but first I need to see. Where did? Oh, there she is. I lost Dawn for a second there. Okay, Dawn, what you got on that?
That's a unique situation that I haven't been in, but when it came to my kids and visitation, because of the co-parent relationship we have, I didn't really police who my son was around. I didn't need to, because I trusted his father's input in decision making. His dad's probably way more strict than I am. So
Oh, he's the dad is way more strict than you are.
when it comes to other people, yeah. Yeah, but I think we've been on the same page for years, so it hasn't been an issue. I haven't been put in a situation, so I don't know.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think it's like Chris said, it's in the best interest of the child. And, even if it's you gave the scenario of the sister-in-law. Say there is an unhealthy family member that is going to be around. I would just ask that it's supervised. You let them go, but be attentive and watching what's happening. We're not leaving my son just with anybody.
Okay. Sound like everyone's kind of saying. I'll come back to it. Okay, Miss Sienna, what do you got on that? And first, before you say something, appreciate you watching that PM. He said little Jimmy. I guess that was because of Brandon mentioned little Jimmy. Okay, Sienna, what you got on that?
Me personally, I guess I'm in the situation, but my daughter is not going to go with her grandparent, whether that's my mom or his mom, if the mom or even the grandpa or whatever, sister-in-law, whatever, if they're not establishing a healthy relationship with the parent. Because in my generation, and I can't speak for others, I firmly believe that if the grandparent or the sister-in-law or the aunt, whatever, if they don't like you, then they don't like your child. So, I mean, My mother-in-law, I don't think she likes me wholeheartedly. She's done nothing to get to know me. She's done, nothing for my daughter. So I don't know why you think you can treat the mom crazy or like crap and then still have access to the child. Like my child doesn't know you because you haven't made yourself friendly to my child. You've done nothing but cause harm to me and you've done nothing for her. So I don't see why I would send my daughter over there personally.
Okay.
Can
All
I
right.
ask a question?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
You said that she doesn't like you, and you said she's done harm to you. Now, clearly, I don't
Correct.
know the details, but if she has done harm to you, then that's a definitely no brainer. My kid wouldn't be around it. Now, I'm a
Right.
big advocate though on keeping kids out of the drama or the mess. So you can't help who your parents are, right? But
I'm
I
working
would
on
want
that.
my child to still know their other side of the family, whether they're toxic or not, right? But I would definitely be there. I would definitely continue to
Exactly.
try to build some sort of relationship because again, it's supposed to be what's best for the child. So if I don't like my mother-in-law, I still would at least attempt is, and if you're married to the son or whatever, like I would still at least attempt. And then, because at a certain age, the kid's gonna know, yeah, this is probably why I was not allowed to come over here,
Yeah,
so,
exactly, for sure. Yeah, I'll definitely attempt that. They're invited to my daughter's birthday party. That's the only time they ever
okay.
show up for my daughter. But other than that, no text, no call, no. You'll drive right by my house to go to a relative's house, but claim you want a relationship with my daughter, but you didn't stop to see her when you drove by my house to go to wherever. So, at that point, you don't want what's in the best interest of my daughter. So I could care less to have that, make her have that relationship with you. So.
And before someone else comment, y'all already know everybody's professionals that's been on Wizzo Talk before, so y'all know the comments is over there, and I share them on the screen, but I don't read off all of them. But you guys can address them however you like. So, any other comments on what Sienna had said before I ask this next question?
I'll say this. I'll say we have to learn, and I'm not saying you have to, as I've learned a long time ago to stop having expectations of other people. And people have their own ideas of what love looks like to them. Because I just had a whole conversation with my son, and he's like, "I love you regardless, ma, even if I don't come for birthday, even though I don't come for Mother's Day." And I'm like, "But I hear the words, but if the actions are not attached to it,
Yeah.
I'm inclined to not believe that your love is really what you say it is." But does that mean he doesn't love me? Absolutely not, because it shouldn't be attached to you doing something for me anyway. So if we learn not to have these huge expectations of people, then we might not be so upset when they disappoint us. And that's just something I've
I,
learned over the years.
right. I'll tell you this. I'm going. I don't give a dang on where my grandkids at. I'm going to see them.
We
Pawpaw
know
will
who you
be
are.
there.
He
Everybody
do.
don't love the same though. Everybody don't love the same.
That's
Like,
true. That
that's
that
that's
is
a
what.
hard reality of like life and dealing with different people. You
Yeah,
know.
and I'm just speaking on me, but I need to kick it in reverse for a second, y'all, because my questions are not necessarily in order. But I'm gonna come back up to Brandy because she said, "Well, we just jumped right off into it." But y'all know me on Wizzo Talk, I jump right into it.
Yep. There
So
ain't no order.
we're gonna kick it back in reverse. So with Miss Brandy, gonna get us started on just what is a healthy co-parenting relationship look like. Coming to the stage, y'all. We got Miss Brandy.
You had to ask me what a healthy co-parenting relationship looks like, right?
Yeah.
And so from my, whether you want to say my experience or my understanding, a healthy co-parenting relationship is one where, both parents have the child's best interest in mind. It's not a relationship that's rooted in feelings. It's a relationship that is rooted in, you know, we have this little person right here or this grown person or whatever that we have to get through life. And though the relationship didn't work between you and I, it we have to have a relationship that works for this child so that we can get, through education, we can get through, the teenage years and, you know, have being able to help this young person navigate life so that they can become a successful adult, because even though you may not be together, this child is still going to see how to interact with adults by how the parents interact, you know? So, with that being a positive relationship, that's what a healthy co-parenting is, you know? There's not always arguing. And yes, you guys are going to disagree, but being able to disagree amicably is what's necessary. So when I think of a healthy co-parenting relationship, that's what it is. Now, did I have that in the beginning? No, I didn't. It was my way or the highway. Okay. And I really didn't care what nobody else said because these are my kids. It took a minute to understand what healthy co-parenting looks like, you know, because you got to detach the feelings that you may have had for the other person, especially if you feel that that person did you wrong. So
Okay.
there's that.
All right, cool. Let's see what Miss Creed. Creed, what is help
I
you?
think one of the main points that she said that is huge is focusing on the kid and not each other and not what feels fair or unfair. You know, of course, you got to set some boundaries, and when you work together, that obviously is going to make it better for the kid. Like if you put the kid on a routine, so say one parent bedtime 8 o'clock, and then the other parent, no, we're gonna stay up to 10 o'clock. They don't even understand the confusion they give in this child, right? Because now they're gonna go back to the mom or the dad and be like, well, dad lets me, well, mom lets me. And imagine you co-parenting and y'all on the same page. Like it just takes the confusion out of everything. And then if you don't agree, like just be flexible. Like, hey, it's the weekend and I
Hmm.
have popcorn and a movie, and you just communicate that. That's why we stayed up. That would make more sense than I'm the dad, I can do what I want, or I'm the mom, I can do what I want. You just communicate, hey, I planned this special night. Like, so be flexible as well. So I think clear communication, obviously, I think the better y'all relationship, and man, I'm telling you, take the feelings out of it, you get a long way. You take the feelings out of a lot of stuff.
Okay. All
Hmm.
righty. Let's see what Miss Sienna think about that. What does a healthy co-parenting situation look like?
Oh, I mean, I agree with what both of them said. Luckily, like my parents co-parent healthily, in my opinion. So, like, I had that example. If you, it's hard whenever you don't have that example and you don't know how to navigate that type of thing or whatever. So for me and mine, we co-parent very well. We do everything for our daughter. Like, we'll go drop her off at daycare. We'll go pick her up from daycare. We'll go to the park together. We'll just do everything in it. And I think showing her that she's loved on both ends and just doing everything together for her just is just healthy. And like y'all said, taking the feelings out of the relationship. Y'all not together, things like that. So I think that's taking your personal feelings out of it to do what's best for the child. So I agree.
Okay. All right. Let's see what Miss Dot.
Can I say one thing? Okay, go
Okay,
ahead.
hold up. Okay, go ahead, Creed. Hold up, Miss
I was
Dot.
just gonna say, we saying it, and these are words, but it's one of the hardest things to do. Take your feelings out of it, especially when it comes to your
Better
children.
say
So
that.
I'm saying it, we're saying it, and it's because we're older and wiser now. But when I was your age, like that's one of the hardest things ever to do when you talking about somebody's kid. So
You
it's
stole what I
Hmm.
easier
was
said
going to
than done
say. I
for
was
real.
waiting on everybody to finish, and I was going to say that. So thank you very
Yeah,
much, Creed.
you're
Now let's
welcome.
see what she said. Well, okay,
Um,
Dot.
I think the biggest key is communication and a mutual respect. That's what I found worked in my own scenarios. Um, the fact that uh, I, I will say my kid's dad did not agree with everything I did, but they respected what I did. And we always stayed communicative. So as long as you are communicating and uh, yeah, keeping your feelings up. I didn't have an issue with the feelings thing because it just, we're over that. But at the end of the day, you've got to communicate effectively. And then another big thing is you got to remember that your kids are always watching you no matter what. They're always watching you, whether their other parent is around or if you're with your friends or if you're with other family members. So one of my biggest rules was we don't talk about dad around me or around when my sons are around. Like dad is not an option. That's not a conversation we're going to talk about. So I was very big on making sure other people respected that. Because at the end of the day, I always felt my kids will make their own opinion and it's not going to be influenced by anyone else. So
Okay. And part of what you said, you in your reply right there, you kind of took some of one of my questions. So I'm gonna skip that one, shuffle it down the line, and come back to it. Okay. So
My bad.
let me say this. Yeah. Okay. So we all talking. You know, we all a little bit older and talking. I guess more reasonable, but the relationship ended bad. You cheated on me. I cheated on you. You want me to respect you. I'm not doing any of that. You want to have a good communication. We're not doing any of that. I'm not doing any of that. So where do we go from here? I mean, we're talking about, the healthy relationship, the communication and all that. We're not communicating on nothing. So, I mean, you with a guy like this right here where it ended this badly. And there's not going to be any respect there. There's not going to be any communication there. So, but it was healthy when it started out, I'm sure, because y'all made that child, right? I'm assuming. So, how do you handle this situation? Or was it
you
just
gotta heal. You gotta work on you and heal. That is a
It
you
wasn't.
problem.
It wasn't healthy. I was sleeping.
Wow.
I was sleeping.
oh my goodness, she was sleeping?
Yes, I was
Okay,
sleeping.
she's so Don, you saying, hey, you got to work on you then?
Yeah, if you have that much animosity that you can't just suck it up for your kids, no, that's a you problem, and you got to work on that because nobody else is gonna fix that for you but you.
Okay, so that's the guy. Okay, anybody else got a comment on that?
But I
That's
mean,
a
but
huge problem.
until you work on it, it's my way or the highway.
Okay,
It's
so
what I say.
you got the
I
final say.
agree.
They
I
live.
swear
They
it's
live
so
with me.
many females with children that think that way. I think it's unfair to the dads, but it is what it is.
No,
It may
okay.
be. It may be unfair to the dads. Okay, don't get me wrong. And I just use my. I use my kids as an example, and I just so happen to send my children's father the link so that he could watch this. Okay,
Oh, okay.
so when we were when we were younger, and I left the relationship, it was bad. It was bad. It wasn't healthy, and I didn't like the way that he was living because he was female hopping. Okay, I got young kids, and when they're with me, it's stable. You know what I'm saying? How can I send my kids to you in another state and it not be stable? Like when they come to you, they need a similar environment as to what they got home. Okay. They can't have, well, we gonna stay here on Monday and we gonna be with this young lady, and then we gonna be here on Friday and we gonna be with this young lady. That's not an option.
There
And
was
so
evidence of that.
until, yes, yes. And so until my kids can advocate for themselves, they gonna stay with me. They're gonna be at my house, and you're welcome to come visit. You can come to where I'm at. Y'all could get a hotel. Y'all could get an Airbnb. Hell, I'll go stay somewhere else, and y'all can stay at the house. Okay, but it's going to be a stable environment.
Okay.
You don't like it? Get your shit together.
So it sounds
Get your
like you
shit.
have the final say in everything from one my first question earlier. But Creed, go ahead.
I was gonna say I was different. As far as a parent, I absolutely let him have his son whenever he wanted to because it's his son. Like he's half mine, he's half his. He's all mine. So I would never tell him he can't have him. Now that decision also allowed my son, and he was young, and he remembers like a lot of stuff. The women, he remembers all these things. So he has those memories when they ask him who would you rather live with, he made the choice based off of those memories. So like for example, if that was your case and they would ask the kids would have probably chose the more stable home, right? But I allowed things to happen the way they were because he was simply because he was his dad. I just was never that type of person because I didn't have a dad growing up, and I'm an advocate for, regardless if it's a trashy dad. Now, if he's not physically harming him, you know what I mean, or things like that. But his dad being a player, that definitely was not, you know, I ain't got nothing to do with me, right? So I didn't have any feelings towards that. I just would ask him, like, can you not have your female friends around my son? You know what I mean? Like that. But as his dad, he gonna do what he gonna do, regardless. And I just had to respect it. And until my son said something, I really was just like, okay, you fine, you're fine.
Well, I'll tell you this: with my kids, I mean, their mom never really kept them from me. She come get them anytime you want to, which
That was me.
I ain't had that problem because, you know, see, all of my daughters are here on, you know, she can tell you, my boys, if they were on here watching whatever, they can tell you me, but that was just me. That's how I was, and I still am to this day. I've been to Iowa to visit my son, Chicago many a times to watch him play football, Kansas to watch Sienna run track and turn and burn and wherever the hell else she ran at, and you know, I'm there for them and always have been and always will be. You know, but I know that every dad is not like that, you know, so, but that just
kudos to you, friend. Kudos to you. Kudos to all the fathers out there that make sure they're a part of their kids' lives despite the relationship not working out.
Right.
Kudos to all of y'all. Y'all don't think y'all get flowers, but I promise you, y'all do. If I know y'all do.
Already. Miss Dawn, you got to comment on anything we were just talking about?
Yeah, kind of like what Brandy was saying, how she was like, it's my way or the highway. I think in the beginning stages with my kids, because I was the custodial parent, I did get the final say in things, but I didn't have much pushback. But I did. I left it open to you can see him whenever you want, but we lived in different states. So that meant he had to come to me or I had to come to him. The only caveat that I had is until my kids were able to, well, my older son, not my younger son, but my older son, my kids have two different dads. They're 8 years apart. So my oldest son, until he was able to talk, he couldn't stay the night because I needed to know that he could advocate for himself and speak up and tell me if anything awry is going on. So he wasn't able to do the overnights. But whenever we go to Georgia, he'd see his dad. His dad never came to the Seattle area because that's where I was at that time. But I have family in Georgia, so I was always in Georgia. So he did see him frequently. And then once we moved there, when my son was 6, we moved to Georgia. So, and my older son, of course, my younger son wasn't in the picture. He was able to start doing the overnights and spending more time with his dad and getting to really know his dad and his dad's side of the family. But yes, when he was younger, I did have that rule where there were no overnights until he could talk.
Sienna, any comment on anything we were just talking about?
Yeah, I agree with that, and I agree with Brandy because it is my way or the highway, and it's gonna be that until, like she said, negative. It's right until she can talk. Until she can talk, like Dawn said. When my daughter can talk, then I'll be able to feel more comfortable, like she can call mommy, like I don't want to be here type of thing or whatever. But if she can't talk, all she can do is cry. Well, y'all know why she's crying. And I know why she's crying whenever she cries. So until she can say why, she's upset or whatever the case is, she's not going overnight. And I don't really care who like it. If you don't like it, take me to court. That's all I can say.
But let me say this though.
Wait, you and the dad not together?
I have grown up. So
okay. I was like, wait, what?
It's better. It's better.
Okay. Well,
I'm just saying, y'all women right there, the reasons why is so many men are messed up in the head about their kids.
But it's not.
Y'all have this power just because y'all carry the baby. That baby belongs to both. Not even belong. That both baby is a product of both of y'all. Y'all should have equal say so. Nobody should have more my way or the highway.
We should have equal finances too. Until the finances are equal
everything.
I'm gonna have the final say. So if I'm paying 80 and you paying 20, you're gonna have 20% of what you pay and what you can do.
Money shouldn't even have
Okay, now little bitty, you can't say that.
You
I can't agree with that.
Hey, we all can't talk at one time. We all can't talk at one time. So, Creed, go ahead,
Wait
Creed.
a minute. Okay, so now you putting a monetary value on how somebody
No,
can parent
negative.
their kid.
If you
If
only
they only
parent,
pay
if
20%,
you
they
Hold up,
only get
Sienna. Let her
20%.
finish, Sienna. Let her finish. Go ahead,
If you
Creed.
only pay 20%, you only get 20% of the child. Like, are you selling the kid's time? Like, that's the idea I get when a woman or a man put a monetary value on it. That's his kid, regardless of how much money. You know what? It's irrelevant. I'd rather have a man physically in my child's life with a positive image, positive role model, and not give me one dime. So when I hear women say if they pay, then they can no. What if somebody said that to you and took your kid and said, "Well,
well,
if you pay, then no, that's wrong. That's wrong. I don't care how nobody look at it. That is wrong." That y'all both had that baby, both of y'all. You
And
might have
Sienna,
carried it because God gave you the instruments in your body to carry it, but once that baby is alive and on earth, that baby is both of y'all. It's not just yours.
Sienna, before you go, let me let Brandy go, and then you come in because you might have some. Okay, Brandy, go ahead.
Okay, Sion, and Lucretia, the monetary part, I don't agree with that piece. Okay, I do have to put that out there. Um, However, like I was saying, to me it was all about stability. That's what my struggle was knowing that when my kid went there, because we're states away, you know. And so it would take a minute for me to get there had anything happened. And at that time period, I did not trust him enough for my kids to go there and I'd be okay with what was going on. So I understand it's a 50-50 to have a kid. I get that, you know. However, you were growing and you were growing and I was growing and we just wasn't growing together. You weren't as responsible as I felt that you needed to be. Okay. It
See,
wasn't it wasn't about the money. It wasn't about the money.
y'all take the feelings out of it.
Okay.
So it was not at all about the money. So I mean, yeah, there's that.
All right. Sienna, what were you gonna say now?
it's not so much that it's about the money, but if I'm the parent doing everything, you don't get to just take my daughter, for example, and go ship her to your mom, and then you get to leave and go do whatever the case is. And then to comment on this chat right here, it's not that I don't trust him with her. It's just he don't know how to care for her when she's not able to tell things, because dads don't know how to do everything that moms know how to do. So that's what I'm saying. But as far as, he if I pay 80, he paid 20, then he only get 20%. That's not what I'm saying. But that was just an example. If I'm doing everything, I'm waking up at night, I'm doing the changing of the diaper, I'm going to take her here, I'm going to take her there, I'm always the one funding or whatever. Why do you get to just be a doesn't really fully apply to me, but a social media dad just to make it look like you're being a parent all the time? I'm not doing that. So you
Can I
don't have
say?
to either. So
Can I ask
Yeah.
you, because you said
Can I make a
he
comment?
doesn't know how to take care of
Go
her.
ahead.
Has he
I think
been given the chance to learn?
yes.
that's how I was going. I was going there. That's what I was going to ask. Like, because if you don't even allow her to spend the night, how's he going to get the experience to wake up in the middle of the night? How's he going? Because some women are not just natural nurturers. Like they have to learn. Like I have to learn. I didn't even like my kid when it was born. Like I was just like, what is this thing? I don't have time for this. I would give him to my mom. Like for a long time, my mom was raising for the first month or so, and then I was like, okay. After my nerves calmed down and my anxiety, and I still have anxiety bad when I'm around children, little kids. So after all that calmed down, because I was only 16, it was like, you got to learn to do this. That baby. You got to learn to do it. So I took initiative to learn. And I mean, I was so frustrated. So nobody really just knows. You said men don't know. Some women don't just know how to be a parent. Like it's a learned behavior. Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's just different for me because I took care of the majority of my siblings. I was the aunt, the stop and drop aunt. So
The
I
stop and
just
try.
knew. But also, me and him were together for a while though. After my daughter was born, if you weren't waking up in the middle of the night when we were all living in the house together, then what makes me think that you weren't willing to learn when we were all together?
You don't
So
trust them.
I'm not gonna.
Sometimes you gotta force them jokers. I used to tell my baby daddy, "Your turn, get your ass up. Your turn."
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, now when she's less needy, now you know how to get up. But when she was very needy, you don't know really how to get up.
and,
So
and
You know,
sometimes
yes.
on the men, sometimes just speaking for the men, I mean, we have to learn that shit sometimes because, but if that baby's crying or he or she's crying in the middle of the night or whatever, and the man get up and he's walking around doing whatever, he don't know what the hell he's doing. Sometimes that baby just need mama, you know. But you know, I've gotten up and didn't know what the hell I was doing, and then I get the next thing I hear is, "Give me her or give me him." You just
But
take
you
your ass
tried.
on back in there and go to sleep or whatever. Yeah, I
You
definitely
tried.
always have, you know.
And after a while, you actually get it. Dads get it. After a while, y'all get it. You just gotta
Yeah.
put the time and energy in. It's like she was saying how she do. The same way she do it, a man can do it.
Yeah,
I don't
we
see
have to
why
learn to
not.
do it. So, but let me ask you this, because I think Don said, and I think Sienna said something to the fact of, you know, waiting till their child can talk or speak to tell them what's going on. But if you leaving the baby with the grandparent, for example, you know, she or he or papa or whatever is not going to hurt the baby intentionally. So why do you have to wait until he or she can talk before you can leave them with them?
That ain't
And I
nothing
just
but control, Paul.
I'll open that
So,
to any. Go ahead, Don.
so in my instance, because of the distance, he didn't really know that side of the family that well, right? And my son, to this day, is still very introverted, and so he would just shut down, kind of. So it was more of a um, piece for me to know that if something happens, he can like I said, I just want to be able to advocate for himself. Now, my son was an early talker, so it wasn't like he, um, was 7, 8, 9 before he was able to go do that. He was like 3 or 4,
Right.
and there had to, and, more visitations and whatnot. And as he got comfortable, it was fine. The plus side for me is the fact that well, not plus side, but in my situation is that we lived thousands of miles away. We still did the phone calls. It wasn't really
Right.
video chat back then. We did the phone calls and stuff like that. But anytime I had the opportunity to get there, I made sure that I communicated so that they could build that relationship. And with my oldest son, him and his father, their relationship was kind of difficult at first. My youngest son's dad had been in my life since my oldest was 2, so I didn't have the same issues with my youngest son. Um, he was like 4 or 5 months old when he went with his dad, and it was automatic overnights.
Right.
So it was just different scenarios. And his dad didn't really want to do the overnights either because he wasn't good with young kids. He just couldn't cope with it. So it worked, and we communicated that. So since I knew that, it was just like, well, when he's able to talk, and express himself, we were both more comfortable with it because it was just. But again, this is where the communication comes in, and he basically expressed his limitations. I agreed that that's going to be a problem. So let's do it this way. So he had to build that relationship with him. Again, it was difficult because we were states away, for them to get to really know each other. He knew who his dad was. He knew on the phone, daddy's voice, all that stuff,
Right.
but they didn't have that bond until we actually got to move closer and he got to really spend real quality time consistently. And then
Okay.
he'd be like, "Can I go to my dad's house? If your dad says he's going to come get you, absolutely. Or if he wants me to drop you off, I don't care, whatever." I was lucky though. I was lucky in both scenarios. So I know not everyone's scenario is like mine. I kind of have a pretty unique situation. So, or I feel it's kind of unique because not everybody gets to do what I've been afforded to do.
Right. That's what's up. I don't know if anyone has a comment or anything else, but I want to, if they do, but Cree, keep this in mind. But because earlier you said that dads get the bad rap because of such and such. So I want to come to you next with that. But first, I just want to see if anybody else had any comment on anything.
I want to respond to the comments in the chat. How do you
Okay.
know? How do you know if you're? And I'm not saying you just out here having sex with people, but Is that something that you ask before you have sex with somebody? What kind of father they are? Or what kind of father are they gonna be? Because you can ask them, they can say one thing, and then when the child's here is something different. So I would like y'all's opinion on that, but also the people that just commented that. I want explain to me how one is supposed to know what kind of father a man will be just before they have sex with him.
Okay, Creed looks like
Okay,
she's gonna take
that is a common statement that men are saying these days when we choose to be with men and lay down with men and they turn out to be trash, right? That's a common statement saying you should have chosen better, right? And that is just deflecting and throwing it back on us. It's not our responsibility, right? Okay, so what I interpret though from Falan, because he's a pretty stand-up guy, is that he's saying, did you check the qualities of the man before you laid down with him? Meaning, was he good to you? Did he take care of you? Did he take care of the other women or whatever in his life? Was he a man of his word? Like, did he work and provide for you? Like, was he there for you mentally fit? Like all those qualities that would make a great dad a dad. And he could have did all those things and still been a trashy dad.
I
The
was just gonna
same
say that.
way, the same way, the same way you get with a man and he's amazing and he love bomb the hell out of you. And then as soon as you marry him, now he's like, I got her. And so now he's doing whatever the hell he wants to. There is no way you can predict that somebody is trash. Okay. So don't ever let nobody tell you it's your fault because you ended up with some trash. However, we do need to vet people. Like we need to, because a lot of us jump in the, and I did this when I was younger too. We jump into bed and then we try to figure out what kind of person they are. Right. So it's a rush society. So we need to take our time. And I really see people through all the seasons before we decide to give them our stuff, or just don't even give it to them, like until they ready to commit 100,000%. Right. I'm an advocate for that too, because once they get it, it's like, mission accomplished. For some, not all. For some, I'm always talking about for some. But you never really know what you're gonna get. Now, if he was trash before you laid down with him, you still chose to lay down with him, you can almost guarantee you're gonna be trash
Yeah, that's different.
afterwards. Okay. But some of them don't come like that. Some of them come shiny and whatever you want, darling, whatever you need. And then they get you, and then there's the real them. Like that's a lot of people. So
Cree, I want to come back to you on that question I asked, but first, I know what time do you have to leave? I didn't ask. Anybody got to leave because it's approaching like 7 in about 15 minutes. I want to make sure I get through some of my questions. Anybody got to leave by 7 or 7:30?
I'm good for
Okay, we'll be good. Okay, so let me come back to you with that question earlier, Cree, when you were saying something I kind of forgot, but I wanted to come back to it. When you wasn't agreeing, you saying men were getting such a bad rap by some of the moms.
I said women like, and I'm it's based off of the control factor, saying this is my kid. I get the last say so. It's my way or no way. That alone is like because took two of y'all to create this baby, not just you, two. Y'all chose each other to create this baby. Y'all should both have equal say so. And of course, I'm saying that on the sense of there's no physical, mental abuse. Of course, those things are automatically deal breakers. But when it's a man that just want to be a part of his kid's life, and just because y'all not together no more, or you got another girl pregnant, or and that y'all didn't say that was y'all situation.
Right.
I know two of y'all was like it was out of town and you didn't trust it. But in my mind, it's like you should trust it because it's his fucking dad. Simply because it's the dad. It's like you can't make a choice for your kid when it's y'all kid. Like you making choices like it's just your kid, but it's y'all kid. So that right there is where I kind of don't like it. Kind of a lot of men, like I know some good men, solid men who wants to be a part of their kid's life and they can't because mom is acting out of feelings and she's being controlling versus being cooperative.
Okay. Any comments?
See, in that instance, I think those feelings are different. Okay. Those feelings are the feelings that you are no longer with me. So now I am going to, and a lot of, and women do it. I am going to use our child as a pawn because you are not with me. And I am going to keep my child away from you because you are not with me. Okay. In In my situation, that was different. Okay. I watched you not be the best of person, which is the reason that I left. So until you can change from not being the best of person, I can't trust you with, and I'll use our kids, Cree. Okay.
Good job.
That's the thing right there.
I can't trust you
Good
with
job.
my
I mean,
kids.
because that's huge. Words have meanings.
But
Words have
Yes,
meanings.
they
I'm
they
telling
they
you.
definitely they do
I'm
have
telling
meanings,
you.
and but that was my thing, and it's
Hey,
crazy because
Brandy,
yeah.
I listened to you and you said it. However, at the end of the day, like all I heard you say bad about him was he liked other women. Like
well, she probably
you,
didn't want to go
you
off
in
into a
your
whole lot of
mind,
stuff.
Yeah, so
Nuances
in
that
okay,
your
person
so
mind, you know it
spoken.
ain't got nothing to do with him leaving you and y'all not together. In your mind, you know that. But I can guarantee you
yes.
that man is thinking it's because we're not together anymore. It's
No,
because I'm
no,
dealing with
no,
somebody
because
else.
see, I'm reading his comments over here on the text message. And so he said that he was young and he thought that he was providing for his family was enough and he didn't have to be there physically. Okay.
Who
Well,
said that?
So
why he not posting that in the chat where we all
Wait,
could
I
wait,
read
told
that?
wait,
I
wait.
told
What
him
text
to post
messages?
it.
Wait a
I
Put
told
minute.
that
him
in
to
the
post
chat.
it in
He
the
can't
chat. I
text
told him to
you.
post it in the
Wait a
chat.
minute. Where are you at? Brandy, I don't see
Tell
him.
him to let me send him a link so I ain't got to be the only man on here. Shit.
He
Yeah. Let's
has
get
the
him
link.
on here.
He's watching right now.
Tell him to let me
Um,
send
Let's
him
get
a
him
link.
on here.
but
Because some men don't know how to be fathers because they didn't
Okay.
have it.
Let Brandy
okay,
finish it. Then I need to see what Don got to
and and that was very much a thing. And so when we were together, like I said, we were young, and as long as he paid for stuff, he was good, you know. But not putting all of our business out there. It wasn't just about women. It wasn't just about women hopping. You know what I'm saying? I need to
Okay.
be able to trust you with the well-being of these kids, and right now I can't. So you are more than welcome to come to where we are. I never kept that from you. You are more than welcome to come where we are. And y'all, like I said, y'all could do y'all's thing. I will leave. You can have it. Okay. But I can't send them there because I can't get to them if something happens. That was my thinking.
there. Hold
And
up,
what
Cree.
if he
Hold
took
up,
the
Cree.
kids
Hold
and
up, Cree.
didn't told
I
you
need
that?
I need to go
Sorry.
to
Go
Don.
ahead.
I need
Go
to go
ahead.
to Don next. Brandy, you finished?
Yeah.
Okay. I need to get with Don. See what Don got to say.
I mean, again, I had a different situation. At the end of the day, my son's fathers trusted me overall to have their best interests at heart. And I think because we had no animosity, they had no reason to fear not being able to see their kid. I've always been from day one, whenever you want to let me know, we will make it happen. Even when my oldest son was younger, if his dad said, hey, I want to see him, can y'all come out here? I did it. If I made it happen. So it wasn't ever, I don't think there was ever that fear of not having access with them. And right now, my youngest son lives with his father. That happened just this year after we had discussed it for a while. I think because I have boys, I can't teach them how to become men. And living here in Texas now, I don't have that community where I have really strong male role models for my son to look up to. So, in discussing that with his father, I said, I think he needs to be with you right now. And so we changed the dynamic. And so now I'm in this weird, place of my kids are out of the house. My 20-year-old's in Japan in the Navy, and my 12-year-old is now with his dad for now. Um, my son didn't want to go at first, but he loves his dad and he has a great relationship with his dad. And so I said, let's try it for a year. In a year, if you want to come home, you can come home. If you want to stay, you can stay. I'm not going to rip him out of his comfort zone. But the way life kind of happened here, And the fact that I felt he needed to be with his dad right now, we came to an agreement. And I am grateful that, his dad and his bonus mom welcomed him with open arms, and they jumped at it. I didn't have to beg. I didn't have to plead. None of that. But that's because the relationship that we have as co-parents, we get along. His dad and I are just friendly. We didn't work together. Matter of fact, when he had met his now wife, I told that man, I said, don't you mess that up. She's a good one. So we've always just had a really good relationship, even after we were no longer together. So, and we just communicate really well. My kids have always seen me be friendly towards their dads. You know what I mean? Even if I don't like some of the stuff they did or said, my kids never saw that, and they never will. Even my older son's 20. He still won't see me or see me say anything bad about his dad, or I won't even, I don't react. I just, and there are plenty of things his dad has done that I don't like, but at the end of the day, that's his dad. And again, I always said, my kids will make their own opinion about them. It will not be influenced by me or anyone else.
All right. And before I come to Creed, let me just thank the viewers that's out there watching right now. I appreciate y'all leaving the comments off in the chat and keep them coming. If you'd like to subscribe, well, I appreciate it. You subscribe, click that link and subscribe to Wizzo Talk. Make sure you hit that notification bell because I'll post according to my guest availability rather than a fixed schedule. So with that being said, let me come up there to Creed because she was ready.
I was ready. First of all, I'd like to commend you, Don, for keeping that open communication with your kid's father. That is amazing. A lot of us struggle in that area. I've been able to do that, but I can tell you this, like when I was co-parenting when I was younger and I was working full time and we had our schedules, he would keep them when I was at work and vice versa. But when he started dealing with whoever he was dealing with, couple people, then he started not showing up, not coming, and I still never just not let him have it. Whenever he wanted his son, door was open. I made it happen. Right. And so the time I didn't do that, I let him have his son that next weekend. And he shipped my son to Mississippi. By hell, you Mississippi. By hell, you Mississippi. So what I was going to say to Brandy was, imagine you think he got his life together. He asked for his kids. You send him your kids. And then you're wondering why your kids ain't came back at the scheduled date. And he say, I don't think you're doing the right thing. So now you can't get your kids. Like, I was so livid. Like, I went immediately to get me a lawyer. And now I'm getting the courts involved. Before I was very open, your child, my child, our child, whatever you want. And then he did that because I found something that my son told me was distasteful. And he shipped my damn son off to Mississippi. Got a lawyer. Son had to be back within 30 days. And, but my point was, imagine if, because he's the dad, he can have his kids live with him. He did that to you. How would you feel? Brandy?
Wait, let me
mute it.
Per the courts, I am the custodial parent, so the courts will be involved, and I will kindly allow them to handle it. And kidnapping charges will be brought across. I never had to do that. However, I'm a courts advocate, okay? And though I don't want the courts involved or whatever be the case, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, that's what has to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what has to happen. If we can't come to an agreement in regards to financially taking care of this kid, okay, the courts have to participate. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's sad. It's sad, but that's the case. Yeah.
That has never been my experience. And with my children, I was the custodial parent. So, but I mean, I hate that for whoever that happens to, because it happens. It happens more than we know. Yeah, it happens more than we know. And baby, you did right. You went to the
I was
courts.
mad as hell.
You
And
went to the
then,
courts because I would have also called my uncle, and he ain't rap too tight. So
I don't want no violence. I don't want no violence.
let me hear
No
it
from
would
violence.
it would have been very non-violent, but
yeah,
I
but,
would have called my uncle.
that's it right
And
there.
is
But
that Mr. Chris Haynes?
That's him. That's him.
Okay.
let
Okay.
me hear from Sienna. But before Sienna comment on anything, you guys are stealing all of my dang on notes that I have over here with y'all replies. I'm like,
That's what
shit.
happens.
I do have a
Oh,
comment after Sienna talks because
okay. All right.
yeah,
We can get that
that's a
to you.
very real
Sienna,
fear.
go ahead and see what you're going to steal from me.
I don't really have a comment at the moment. I'm just kind of taking it all in.
Okay.
So yeah, y'all continue.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll come over here to Miss Dawn, then. Miss
Okay,
Dawn, what's up?
I will say that scenario Cree just stated, it popped in my head. I think we talked about it before I sent my son. But one of the things that his dad and I did do, and it was actually his dad's idea. Well, it wasn't his idea to do it the way I did it, but he did say, "Hey, I need some paperwork. So while he's here, if he needs to be seen medically, da 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 da, I can do that." I was like, "You're his dad. You don't need that." But then I thought about it, and I was like, his dad's mom and I don't have the best relationship, and she's not too happy that we moved to Texas. So before my son left, I had to draft a legal document because I am still legally the custodial parent. I had to draft a legal documentation that we all signed, that basically stated that yes, he's with his father for such amount of time. His dad has all legal rights to do whatever to get him treated medically, enroll him in school, da 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 da. If anything happens to his father, this is the next person in line that my child is to go to, which happens to be my mother, who is in Georgia. And so we all agreed to it. And I had that notarized, and all three of us signed it because I didn't want there to be an issue if in any, God forbid, any tragedy happens and his dad is unable to take care of him, and it's going to take me a while to get to Georgia from Texas. So I was like, my mother's there. He goes straight to her. She is the next person with legal access to my child. And there is a time frame on this. So this living situation is technically temporary unless my son says this is where I want to stay. And then that's when I will redraft that. But yeah, because it's very real. They think you could go to court and be like, oh, she abandoned him. Or, oh, no, I was like, we are not doing that. You know what I mean? I trust his dad enough to think he wouldn't do that. But there's always that little bit, because I've seen it happen to other people. I was like, oh, I'm not going to be in that situation. So I did draft that document, and it is a legal document, and it was notarized, and all three of us have a copy of it. So if his dad wanted to magically make it disappear, I got a copy, my mama got a copy. You're going to have to get rid of all them copies that you signed in order for anyone to believe that I abandoned my son.
Gotcha. I heard that already. So, I asked this question earlier, and then I was talking about who has the final say so. So listening to all you ladies talk, I already know that the moms here has the final say so on where the kid's going, what the kid's going to do, if I'm going to let him go here, let him go there. So I asked that earlier, if y'all remember. So I just want to kind of point that out, that you guys are really taking that over right there. So I know
I don't think I had the final say so, but legally, the way the courts have defined it,
right.
as I am the custodial parent. So I do make most of the decisions. However, I've always included his father. So with that said, yes, I do make the decisions, but I always, because of the respect we have for each other in our roles, his dad has always had a say in all things except one thing, and that was the move to Texas. That was the only thing I did not talk to him about, but everything else he's always had a say so in. And I'll admit, I pissed him off when I moved to Texas, but when I broke it down to him and explained it to him, and then that's when he was like, okay, that might have been the best move, and that's okay. But no, he didn't like it, but Yeah, I made that decision without asking. I did. But at that time, he was not super involved. He would see his son maybe twice a year. And in all honesty, if we had stayed in Georgia with that cycle, he sees them more now than he did then. You know, and throughout the years, he have them all summer,
Right.
every
Yeah,
summer. So he has way more access.
Go ahead,
yeah,
Tim.
I do agree. I mean, I have the final say so, but I do include her dad in every decision. Like we've switched her daycares, a few times or whatever, or anything about school, anything about pretty much where she goes except his mom's house. And that's another situation that we allowed his mom to watch her when she was younger and for a couple hours whatever, and I'm calling, my baby's not even 1 month old at this point, and she's helping us out whatever. But if I call you and you have my daughter, you don't answer, but then your son calls you and you answer, that's a problem. And she didn't see that as a problem. So that's where I say I have the final say so as far as my daughter going to his mom's house. But anybody that respects me for the most part and is trying to be a positive influence in things that me and her dad have going on, whatever, then I mean we talk about those things, where she goes, when she goes, if she's able to go, whatever, stuff like that. But I include her dad in everything, even though I'm at the end of the day the last one to say, okay, yes, this is what we're gonna do. But set with the mom situation, we ain't doing it. But
All right. I got one thing I would say, but Brandy and Creed, y'all making me hungry. Shit, I ate before I came on the podcast. Y'all up there weighing something out. Shit, I'm getting kind of hungry.
I've been looking at Brandy this whole time.
Yeah. Damn. But
I
okay.
have the
Randy
best.
made me hungry. That's why I went out to go get
Uh-uh.
some cookies.
I have the best chef in the world. And
Yeah, the
she made
chef.
some. We're not gonna talk about it, but she made something and she let me taste it. So I was like, okay, cool. But we're not gonna talk about that. That's another topic for
Okay. That's
another
another
show.
topic. You
So
was doing more than
yeah,
tasting. Your butt was eating.
it was good. It was really good. It was
So
really
let me
good, and
ask
it
y'all
was
this.
vegetarian. It was
All
vegetarian too.
right.
So yeah.
Mm.
Let me
I
ask
ain't
y'all
never had
this.
no chef.
I know it's that's special right there. Got an own shelf. So let me ask y'all this. So y'all just work with me. I'm gonna try to set this up. So the parent, I mean the dad or the mom or whatever like this. And so one of your best friends is talking cash crap about the baby daddy, and whether he was good dad or whether he was a bad dad. But this person here is your friend, and they talking bad about, you know, the parent. Do you, what do you do? Do you stand up for them, or do you correct them, or do you just say, yeah, he or she wasn't with shit. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, what are your stance on that? So let me come to Brandy first.
Okay, so I I would not join in front of the kid. Okay. But I take my daughter for example,
Julia didn't
right?
call you.
Take my daughter for example. I remind her all the time not to make negative mention of my grandbaby's dad in front of her. Don't do that. Even at my daughter's oldest age as she is, I remind her, I don't even say negative things about your father. I allow you to make uh your own idea of who this man is. Okay. So in front of other people, it's like, nah, don't say that. Even if I feel strongly about this person who may not have been a very good person, don't badmouth somebody else, because karma is a beast,
Right.
right? And you never know what's gonna come back on you, what's gonna be said about you. You never know these things. So, you know, you don't want nobody talking bad about you. Don't talk bad about nobody else,
Okay.
regardless of how strongly you may feel about that situation.
Okay.
Now, have I talked raggedy about somebody's baby daddy. We've had a whole raggedy session. Yes, we have. Okay, it happens when we get together. We be drinking, and your baby daddy is raggedy. Okay, we've done that, but I mean, in not in front of the kids, never in front of kids. That's always the thing, and you
And
know.
I should have set that up a little bit better, saying not in front of kids, just meaning that if y'all are out and the grown folks are talking,
Mhm.
that you stand up for them. And so you already cleared that up and said you will or would stand up for them unless, but you have said some things. So,
Oh yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
mean, I'm gonna be loyal to my friend, right? But I also want you to know you shouldn't talk about other people.
right. Because that is your
I,
baby dad. You got a
he
baby.
is raggedy.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so
All right. Well, let me
there's
go
that.
see what Sienna's thinking about that. What do you say? Do you stand up for him or you just let him talk crap about it? What's up?
I mean, if he's doing some raggedy things, I agree with Brandy. First off, I am gonna agree with my friend, but if your baby daddy is doing some good things too, then say that as well. Don't just make it sound like they just terrible all the time, all the time, all the time, and then you turn around and it's kind of like, well, he doing this. So like, what? How is he raggedy? How is he that raggedy? Like, it's okay to have bad days. Say that, but don't make it sound like every day is bad unless every day is bad. Then that's different. So I mean, I would stand up for him if I would stand up for the person. It depends, case by case, case by case.
Case by case. So you might stand up for him. Miss Don, do you stand up for him? He is the father of your kids. Do
I've
you
been
let
in
your
this
friends be
situation.
mad about him?
I've been in this situation. Of course, I've already stated not around my kids, but I will state my best friend. We've been best friends since third grade, and she hated my oldest son's dad with a passion. And it came down to I did defend him at one point. In the beginning, I let her just do what she do. But as my oldest son got older, his dad grew up. He did grow up and he did a complete 180, you know.
I
That
see you,
took a
Brandon.
lot of prayer. But he grew up. We weren't super young, but we were younger. I was 25 when I had my oldest. And so yeah, I have defended him because when he did that 180 and actually started putting forth that effort and just showing, he manned up. It took a while because my son was like eighth grade or so when it finally clicked for him. I knew it was going to click though because I knew he wasn't a bad person. He wasn't a bad person. He just needed to grow up. And once he did, yeah, I defended him for sure because I could see him trying. And once that growth happens, and you kind of have to, because now there's effort. There's intentional effort. Let me be very clear about that because effort versus intentional effort are two different things. And you're seeing him try to grow and step up and man up and be that father he should have been from day one. I was just happy he showed up, So I have defended my son's father. I've been put in that position because I can't knock somebody who is trying, you know.
Well,
And I even told him, I said, hey, I see you. Thank you.
okay. Let me come to Brandy, then Cree, we're gonna come up to you. Brandy, you was gonna say
Well,
something?
what I'm gonna say, I could talk about my baby daddy, but you can't talk about my baby daddy. Okay,
I like that.
I
I
can
like that.
I can tell you that some is raggedy. Okay, but what you not gonna do? You're not gonna be able to do that. Okay, so I would if my friend is making negative comments about her baby daddy, I would tell her, hey, come on now, type situation. But if she's making negative comments about my baby daddy, we're not gonna do that. We even if we have been in the game since the third grade, ma'am, you gonna have to respect that I'm the one that laid down with that guy, not you. Though you can't do that. That's not nice. Don't do that.
In
Don't do
fairness,
that.
I had to grow up too.
Yeah, don't.
All
Don't
right.
do that.
Let's see
You
what
know.
Mr. Cree got.
Well, I have a different opinion as usual. I like for us not to talk bad about anybody, like at all, negatively. Somebody that we chose to like spend time with in our life, because none of us are perfect. We all have our faults. Like whatever happened to you personally, especially if you forgave a person, like why are we even talking about it? Because what you're doing is perpetuating the negativity. And then it's almost like being in a relationship. You tell everybody that he's trash, he did this, did that, and then y'all get back together,
Yeah.
right? So I would love in a perfect world, in my perfect mindset, that we all start respecting each other and speak nothing but positivity into the earth and the universe versus the negativity. Because I really believe that if you decided to lay down with that person, you like them at some point,
Have
right?
to.
But we only focus on what they did wrong or what they can't get right instead of focusing on the positive. And if y'all no longer in each other's lives, you shouldn't even be coming out your mouth no way, right? And that's what I mean when I say focus on the kid and not the feelings
That's
or
where that healing comes into
the
play.
bad parts of the relationship that y'all no longer have. Like just keep talking about it is just like keeping it alive, you know. But I like to get to a point where we as women respect all men and all men respect all women. I think that's the only way we're gonna move forward, because this narrative of us going back and forth, we never get anywhere. And Paul, you know, I'm an advocate for like, you know, just if you can't love on them, just leave them alone.
Yeah.
Cree
Like,
is
but
so
talking bad,
zen.
Yeah.
I'm
And
trying, man. I'm trying. Like, if I could touch
She
one
is
person,
so
Cree
if
is
I
she's
could
all
touch
so
one
love and light
zen.
person,
reaching each
man, like,
other.
we have hated each other for so long. Like,
Yeah.
men hate women, all women because they baby mama did them this way and that way, and vice versa. Like, I didn't have the best co-parenting relationship, but I respect him as a man, and I know he tried, and he didn't even have a role model to look up to. So, like, it's a generation of us just like out here figuring it out day by day. So if we can extend some grace to somebody, why not it be your child's parent?
it's kind of like Ecom J is saying, in short, keep your business in your house, because
Yeah.
your friend or whoever don't know about whatever until you tell them, and then once
And
you
now they
tell
looking
them,
at them upside the head.
yeah,
I'm
then
sorry,
they're
go ahead.
going to say something totally different. But I'm not going to entertain, a friend of mine can come up and he can make some little old comments and I'll sit there and listen to him. But again, it's kind of like Ecom J saying, if he only know what I done told him, but you're not fixed to come up there and talk bad about, I got kids by that woman. So that lady or that whatever. So you're not fixed to come up here and talk, man, that bitch this and that bitch this and that whole this
Oh
and she
yeah.
left you and did. I ain't
But you
gonna
can't
happen
control
that.
nobody else but
You know,
yourself.
they not fixed to come up to me and talk about. Now they can go to that third party and talk to a man, Wizzo, blah blah blah. But right here in front of Wizzo, I ain't gonna be able to do it.
But Wizzo, if you never open your mouth and said nothing, would they have that information to go talk to
I
the
just
third
said that
party
too.
about?
I just
Yeah.
said that too. No,
That's
but
true.
now,
So we
however, they do have eyes, and especially if they seeing us out together, and now you seeing us no longer out together, people can draw their own conclusion to shit, and it can be totally wrong about whatever they drawing. So I don't have to be and said anything. They just know now. They know we're not together no more. They're not seeing us do this and seeing us do that. So and draw their own. They might not come say it to me, but best believe they probably send it to somebody over there, and that's cool because I can't stop them from doing it. Just don't bring that shit over here. Let me go on with this. Anybody got a comment? Let me ask y'all this. What is one of the hardest parts about shifting from being a parent to a co-parent? And I'm not gonna come to Sienna with that yet because she hasn't made that switch yet. So, and hopefully she doesn't have to make that switch like that. But let me come to Cree. Cree, what's one of the hardest parts about you think, in your opinion, from shifting from being a parent to a co-parent?
I don't even understand the question. Like, if you've
Well,
been a
Like
parent,
from being together to like co-parenting, is that what you're saying?
yeah.
Oh, okay. That's
Mm.
not how I
Let
Okay.
me Brandon, go ahead.
I thought we was talking to Cree.
Well, we
Cree.
were, but Cree said she didn't understand the question, and you were
Yeah,
saying,
you
Okay,
can't
so
phrase it as
from
a
my
so yeah.
understanding of the question, going from a parenting like a regular parenting unit and then separate parenting units.
Man, y'all not.
Okay, so in my experience, it was control. Like, and when I say
Boom.
control, when I say control, I just meaning like when they're with you, when they're with you, just being like in my place, not calling, not texting, hey, what's going on, what's happening, da da da. um that piece is and was the hardest thing for me. um I'll say the control.
Okay, so what I'm seeing and where I'm kind of going, but and I appreciate that right there too is saying, I'm talking parent. So now we both right here we parenting together, but now we're not. So now we co-parenting because we're not together anymore. So I'm talking about the split. We're not together. So I'm just asking, what is one of the hardest parts from shifting from being parenting together now we co-parenting.
So like the Toya Monet, she says, not being able to again control his household. We now have two households, okay? I can't say what goes on over there in his household because he can't say what goes on in my household as well. So again, for me, it's the control piece.
Okay, all right. Let me shoot
Okay.
back up the creek.
So for me, where I struggled the most was not knowing, and I don't think that's the control piece, but I think not knowing what's going on, what my kid is being exposed to, who's around my kid, what they doing to or not doing, what they allowing him to do, and what, because I learned that my kid was doing all kind of stuff when I sent him to Chicago. And I was just like, whoa. When he was telling me like, yeah, I used to do this, I used to hang out, I used to drink, I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Because I know when he was with me, he didn't do none of that. It was like I had to train him all over again when I got him back, because my oldest son, I shared him with his father and his family in Chicago when I moved here to Texas. So he spent a year there, a year here, and I think it's probably the worst thing I could have ever done. But that's one of those promises that I made to his father, is that I'll make sure that he knows his other side of the family. Because I'm big advocate on that, because I didn't know my father's side.
Okay.
So yeah, I didn't know. I didn't have knowledge. Nobody was calling, telling me what was going on, or what he was into, what he wasn't into. So that was the
Okay.
struggle.
All right, Miss Dawn, what do you think?
Um, I still think it's still for as a mother, it's a control thing, but it's not. I've never felt the need to control per se what happens in someone else's house, right? And that's something his dad and I always kind of agreed upon. What's happening in that household is what's happening in that household. But again, the biggest factor in that is trust. You got to trust that other person to have your kid's best interests at heart. And I do. I don't believe that he or his wife would cause any mental or physical harm to my son. They've shown him nothing but love his whole life, and that's all he knows, you know? And then my son's 12. He'll call me in a heartbeat and be like, Mom, you know? So, um, it's that type of thing. But he'll ask me stuff. I was like, you don't live with me right now, baby. You better ask your daddy. That's his house. So you're gonna go by whatever rules he has set. And I think for him, it's learning that he doesn't come to me first. He's not in my house first. He's going to his dad first. And I remind him, I can't answer that question. You don't live here right now. You live with your daddy. You better call and ask him, or go in the next room and ask him, because that's not how that works. So yeah, it's and getting used to that dynamic. It's difficult. I'm in a pseudo empty nest type phase right now, so it's really weird. But my kids, we talk about everything, and they know the lines of communication with me are always there. So if my son calls and says, "Hey, Dad did X, Y, and Z. Can you talk to him?" You best believe I'm gonna be like, "Hey, what's going on? This is what he said. I'm just bringing up his concern because he didn't feel comfortable coming right away to you." And I was like, I'll be like, "Can you go talk to him about X, Y, and Z?" I'm not going to make the decisions though. And I know I'm not going to make the decisions because it's not my household, you know?
Okay. All
So
right.
giving up that full control, it's not easy, but because there is a trust there, it makes it easier.
Okay, yeah. I appreciate the comments from the guests that's watching, viewers, from the viewers that's watching as my guests. If y'all want to comment on any of the questions over there in the chat, just please let me know, or just go and say, hey, I want to talk about what Ecom's saying or whoever's saying, just let me know, whatever, we keep that rolling. So did anyone have another comment on that? Sienna, I don't know, you know, okay. So let me ask y'all this.
I don't have a comment because we're in the middle stages of co-parenting
Right,
and parenting. So
right.
just let y'all know.
Okay. All right.
Make that thing work, girl.
If you
So,
can keep that respect factor in there, it gets easier.
all right, cool. That's what's up. So, I've heard, I've asked about who got who has the final say so and all this stuff like this, and I've heard some of y'all say, they're our kids. I heard them say they're my kids, but I'm gonna ask y'all this, and I'm just saying from the men because men mostly do, but women pay too. I'm talking about child support. So, I'm the man. I'm paying child support. I'm doing my part. What the judge that told me I have to do. I want to see my kid whenever I want to. Does I heard somebody saying, "Oh, that was static." I don't know. so what I'm asking y'all, I mean, do I have unrestricted access to come and see my kid whenever I want to? I'm paying what I wanted to. Now I know the judge will set some type of limits, but shit, I'm paying my child support. I'm not late. I'm not behind. We don't get along that rate because maybe I cheated or did whatever. I'm gonna see my kids when I want to. Don, what's up with that?
I didn't have that issue. My oldest son's dad did get behind in child support. Luckily, his other baby mama was crazy, and so that got fixed quick. But he still got to see his son when he wanted to. I did not keep him from him. I saw firsthand how that affects a family when I was younger. My brother's ex-wife did that, and I saw how it affected my family, my parents, and I vowed to never do that. So I've never done that personally. You say you want to see him, even if we're states away, we're going to make it happen because at the end of the day, my baby's mental and spiritual and physical health is going to be number one. So if he says, I want to see my daddy, all right, let's make it happen. Let's call dad and see when he can get you, or let's do this. Like, this is just the relationship we had and the understanding we had. Or if dad says, I miss my kid, I want to see him, we're making it happen.
Okay. And let me ask you this before anyone else come in on that. So he states away, but I mean, again, y'all pretty cool or whatever. So he said, well, Don, will you pay to send them to me out of state and then I'll pay to send them back, or will you pay half of the ticket? So will that
I
something?
wish that was my case. But I always paid. But that was what we agreed upon because of the scenario in which we left. I did agree to take that burden because a lot of people are like, why don't they pay for half? Why don't they do this? I left the state of Georgia with my kids without asking, and it was dead wrong. I admit it. This was 10 years ago. I admit it was wrong. I had my reasons, and I still stand by those reasons, but I was wrong. I apologize for it. We've all moved on from that at that point. But as part of that bargaining chip to get them in an okay place, I said, I will foot the bill to get them there and back every summer. And I did. And I held true to that the entire time. That's just me though. And there were even times like I had a lot of family members that passed away or got sick. I was going 2019, I was back and forth to Georgia too many times, way too many times. But each time we went, they saw their daddy. They saw him. And it was, I don't care if it was a couple hours, if it was overnight, it was whatever it was, they saw them. Because that's important. And I just always made sure my train of thought was until my children are a legal age and out of high school, it is my responsibility as their mother to try and foster a healthy relationship between them and their dads. And that's just my belief. I'm not saying that for anyone else. This is for me and my family. And that's what I did. And I'm still doing. There is never going to be a time where I would talk badly about their dads. I definitely always, like, when my older son he had this thing where it's like, I don't want to go see my dad. I'm like, you need to go see your dad. You need to spend time with your dad. Your dad still loves you. Your dad perfect. No, but you got to let him keep trying. That was my exact words to my son. And when my son graduated, he said, Mom, thank you. Because I would have walked away from him if it wasn't for you.
All right. Boom.
And
All
they
right.
have a great relationship now. So I think there's a responsibility, because as parents, it's our kids' best interest in mind. And you got to look at that bigger picture, because a lot of time our kids don't look past the tip of their nose. We got to look at the bigger picture in the future and what that looks like. And that's what I did consistently, especially with my older son. And they have a great relationship now that he was willing to walk away from at 11, 12 years old. That was his choice, not because anything I did, or it was his dad's own actions. I had a conversation with his dad. His dad said, I'm going to work on it. I'm going to do better. And he did.
That's what's
It
up.
was fine.
Creed, what you got?
I commend you for that, friend. That is amazing. I love that. I love that. I never had no issues. So you want to come get that joker, just come on and get that joker. Let me know when, where, why. I used to pay to send my son to Chicago. I would definitely try to get him to help pay. But if he couldn't help foot the bill, I got it. Don't worry about it. Because I felt like it was important for him to know his other part of the family as well. So
All right, that's what's up. Sienna,
child support don't have nothing to do with it. It's his kid.
got you. Okay, Sienna.
What was the question again?
It's a scenario.
She don't agree. She don't agree. Okay.
Wait, I forgot the question. My attention. I'm
Right.
silly.
Well, I
Youngest.
was just kind of sum it up as just saying, if I'm paying child support, I want to see my kid whenever I want to. So,
Oh, yeah. No,
Okay.
I remember that now. Sorry, I got mom brain. Anyway, no, yeah, I wouldn't have no problem. You can come get her, hang out with her, take her to the park, take her. That's fine with me. Y'all already heard my concern earlier. Is who you cannot take her to this lady, but you could come pick her up and go to your house and whatever. That's fine. I don't really care. But if you do take her to that lady, I would at least like for you to let me know that you took her over there.
that lady,
Because if anything happens, I know
to
where
that
she was at.
lady. Okay.
Sienna, can
To
I
that
ask how old
lady.
is your baby?
19 months. She'll be 20 months next week
Okay,
on the
that
21st.
helps me understand your responses so much more. I get it. Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
Brandy, go ahead.
There you go. But she can talk. She can say no. Like Annalie, go over there. No. So
She gonna be saying "Papa" real soon too. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Brandy.
yeah.
I don't think that whether or not they're paying child support has anything to do with when they see them. Um, if you are paying your child support, okay, fine. If you are not paying your child support, I guess okay, fine. Like, I mean, that never had a bearing on whether or not you were able to see your child. Okay. I did hear I was listening to Dawn when she said that, she felt like she had an obligation to foster the relationship between the child and the parent. Um, and I did not feel that I had that obligation. Okay. Um, because you are an adult and you know that you have this child. Now,
That
I
was a fake.
always made available the phone number and the location of where your child is. And I never said that you can't come here or you can't call. Okay. Um, but I wasn't going to pick up the phone and make the call. I wasn't going to do that. Uh, that's just not me.
Even when your kids were
Um,
younger?
huh?
Even when your kids were younger, let's say they didn't have their own phones and whatnot?
Mm-mm. No, I wasn't doing that. Like, if you could pick up the phone to call and say, "Hey, how are they? Would you like to talk to them?"
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And you say yes or no, then we ain't got nothing else to talk about, you know? But if you're not making that effort to even reach out to your child, what am I making an effort to connect y'all two together for? I've given you all the information that you need in order to build that relationship. Like, it's not my job to do that.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think mine was just a little different, but yeah, when my kids, I didn't have to make him do it because he did
Hmm.
call and reach out periodically. He did, but it was more so when my son, um, it was a summer where he spent with his dad, and his older son's an athlete. My son is not. He's a little, he likes to draw. He's a nerd, but he got the drawing from his dad, the love of drawing from his dad, and he felt pushed away because his dad was more connected to the athletic son versus the kid that picked up on the artistic ability. And so
Right.
he felt pushed away. And so that was more of our situation where my son just felt like he loves X-Men more than he loves me. And I'm like, no, that's not the case. It's not the case. And so I was trying to help that because it was affecting my son mentally. He didn't want to be around his dad because he felt like his dad didn't care. And that wasn't the case. He just, did he make a mistake? Sure. He showed more attention to one child over the other, but you know, so my situation was a little different. But I get that. I do get that. If they're not
Yeah.
making an effort, yeah, no, I get it. I mean, I probably still would try, but I'm not gonna
Mm-mm.
force anybody to step up and do their job.
Yeah.
A lot of personal stories going on in here, man.
I
I
got I got
appreciate
too
that.
much other stuff to deal with. I ain't doing that.
So, oh, Sienna, go ahead. Oh,
No, I was just agreeing
okay.
with what she was
So,
saying.
yeah, y'all didn't answer so many of my other questions, so I'm not going to even repeat them. I mean, because y'all just didn't kill me with that. I add them, but I mean, the general conversation. So I'm going to ask this last one, and then after that, we just go around the room and get some closing comments from everybody. So I'm just going to ask this question right here. And see, I'm not going to start with you on this question right here. What if we're going to
Okay.
come back to you? So no, I'm just saying. So, what advice would you give to a young parent just starting out on the co-parenting journey? You know, so they get ready to start co-parenting. So, what advice would you give to them? And let me come to Creed first to ask. What it look at Brad say yes, mama.
Really? Really?
So Creed,
I got
what,
you though, because I'm trying to get up out of here.
yeah, what advice are you gonna give them? So
First thing I would say is choose the men wisely before you even had a baby bound, right? Vet them. Take your time. Do not even late. Be proactive, not reactive, because once you're reactive, you're stuck with the kid. But be proactive
Hmm.
in your selection of who you allow to insert themselves into your life and your body and create with. And take as much time as ever. I know ain't nobody gonna hear this, but maybe one person will. You could not even have kids. It's just not. This world is so jacked up. Like I wouldn't even want to bring a kid to this world right now. But if you do, and you have to co-parent with somebody, just try to take the feelings out and do what's best for the kid, and then put yourself in the other parent's shoes when you're making a decision. So when you say I got the last say or whatever, imagine them telling you that about your kid and how it makes you feel. So put yourself and just have a little empathy, give a daddy a little grace because you chose to lay down with him and create this child. So I think one of the worst things you can do, and this is a part of the advice, is to try to control a situation that two people created. It's two people should be controlling it, not just you. That's
all
it.
right, cool. Miss Dawn, what
Okay.
advice?
All right. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna word it a little different. Now that we're in the reactive phase, um, the honest answer I can say is check your ego at the door. It's no longer about you. It's no longer about him. It's about that baby. And as a parent, you should be wanting all the best. And you need to look at what's this child's future look like if you keep going head to head with their parent? What example are you showing your child if you're constantly battling the other half of them? It's going to cause confusion and chaos for your child. And I believe, you know, these are just the stepping blocks for chaos in the future. So check your ego at the door. It's no longer about you. It's no longer about that other person, but how you guys can come together to make this work. You know, um, feelings do have to go out the window. No matter what she did, he did, she, it doesn't matter once that baby comes into play. You need to heal yourself, heal your feelings for that other person, and pray they do the same thing on their side. But do your best to keep that child the priority. Um, and it should work out. And you just gotta communicate honestly. There have been times when I've been told, "I don't like what you did," and I'm a very very strong-willed person, and I'm real quick to be like, "I don't care," but I had to check my ego and be like, "I hear you. Um, I'm sorry that I made you feel this way. We'll try better in the future." Did I really care? Honestly, no, but I have to, I check that because that's not what's best for my baby. You know, you've got to prioritize your kids, number one, and that's the only advice I can give. That's worked for me. It may not work in every scenario, but I am lucky and blessed for the scenario I have,
All right.
and I'm grateful. So
Before
yeah.
I come to you, Brandy, I got one that's getting ready to go. Let me get Creed. You got some closing comments before you get ready to get up out of here?
I love y'all. Thank y'all. Thank you for having me. Go out there and love on somebody. It's enough hatred in the world. Extend grace when you can. If you can't deal with a person, leave. Don't engage. Don't be violent. Don't put your hands on folks. I'm telling y'all, this world is getting ready to be crazy. So if you don't need to be around some bad energy and negative energy, don't. Love y'all.
Before you go, who is Grace? What's up?
Give some grace, meaning have some empathy.
Oh, my bad. I thought you said
Put yourself in somebody else's shoes before you decide to react.
I thought you was talking about some other Grace. Okay, appreciate you, Creed. I appreciate you coming in for me. Thank you very much.
All right, ladies.
Let me go to Miss Brandy. What are your thoughts on that? What advice?
So the advice that I would give, don't take my advice. Don't take my advice. Um, no, but and I all the delivery of the message, I'm gonna apologize for, but the message is what it is, and it's gonna be what it's gonna be. But however, the first thing that I should have done that I didn't do when me and my kids left the situation was therapy. Okay. Because you don't always know how to fix yourself. All right. So if you have the opportunity and the means, and seek therapy so that you can do what is best for your child. Okay. If the relationship doesn't work for you, that doesn't mean that the relationship does not work for your child. Okay. And feelings may, a lot of times, and not just on the side of the female but on the side of the male too. Oh, you left me, so that means you don't need me. No, that ain't why I left. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm leaving you because you cheated on me, now you can't see your kids. You see what I'm saying? There's still an emotional connection between you and said man, or you and said female. So that is hindering the relationship that your kids have, right? But if you get that under control through therapy, because I believe in therapy, if you get that under control through therapy, you can move mountains. The two of you can move mountains for your child. And in the Black and the brown community, therapy is becoming a new thing. You see what I'm saying? When back in the day it was you don't tell nobody what's going on outside of your house. However, I need to do what's best for my kids, and me being able to talk to someone that these negative feelings that I have towards you, and I don't mean my mom or my friend, because they're going to either choose my side or choose his side. You see what I'm saying? And their comments aren't always going to help. But a non-bias, a neutral party will help you develop those skills and develop those tools necessary to deal with this other parent that may not feel like they need therapy. Okay. But if you get the help that you need, you'll be able to deal with any type of person that's set before you, you know. So I'm a big advocate for that in order to help your kids. So you got to do that. You got to take care of you mentally, emotionally, before you can be the best for your child.
All right.
I
And
agree.
Sienna, based on where you are now, what advice would you offer to someone?
Everything what they've said, but I have one of my friends, she's going through a way worse co-parenting situation that is typical for our age, which is when y'all say take, the feelings out of it and stop trying to be in control of what goes on in his household and you cheated on me type of thing or whatever. And I mean, and I just tell her like that's still her dad. She still has the rights, to go over there, because the thing about their relationship, and not to put, anything out there like that, but he, to go back to that comment earlier that said, you should have known what kind of father he was during the sex process. They were together for a lot of different years, and he was treating her all types of crazy. But all she could see was that he's going to go to the NFL and he's going to have money, and we're going to be together, and I'm not going to have to work. So when you went to the NFL, then those, oh, I see this other woman and I don't want to be with you no more. So she got pregnant anyway.
Mm.
And so she thought they were going to be together. And it's hard for me to tell her this story look like this or whatever. But because she's going to deny it. I already know, like, oh, I didn't trap him, but you did, because you're sitting here telling me all the signs of the abuse that happened the 4 years y'all were together, and you still chose to get pregnant. Why else would you have gotten pregnant? Because you know he was going to have a lot of money. But I just try to tell her, like, you know, you got to move on. He moved on. Now all y'all have to do is co-parent. They do the court thing. She still just wants to be in control all the time. I was like, well, when you find somebody for yourself, when you heal and then you find somebody for yourself, then you're going to stop worrying about what he's doing with her and what they got going on here. And it's easier for me to say that to somebody because I'm not really necessarily going through that. But, so I mean, that's everything that they said, though. Just try not to be in control, take the feelings out of it, and just do what's best in the best interest of the kid.
And I'll say this on that, and maybe if she believes in therapy, like Brandy was saying, maybe she will talk to someone professionally besides a mom or whatever, because parents seem to kind of whatever. So
Yeah, I'm 100% against the whole talking to your family and friends about things if your family and friends don't know how to mind their business and separate the line. Like, so if I go vent to my dad or my mom about it, my dad and my mom are not going to go treat my baby daddy or significant other any type of way based off of an argument that we just had, over here or whatever. But his parent, she don't know how to divide that up, and his friends don't know how to divide that up either. So it's a lot of backlash and stuff like that there. But if your family and friends don't know how to mind their business, then you don't need to vent to them at all. Go find somebody, go find a therapist. That's what you
so
need.
let me say this. I don't know. Does anyone has a comment on anything she said?
Yeah, definitely what Brandy said. Working on therapy, yes, it helps. And the more you heal and you become unbothered and okay, the easier it is going to be to deal with anyone, not only just your other co-parent, but anyone. It's going to help you in the long run just be a better person. I definitely advocate for therapy as well. I did it. I still do it. So, yeah.
And I can kind of go on about therapy, but I'm not because we almost been on 2 hours. I don't want to hold you ladies for any longer than what I've already had. So let me come with just some closing comments with anything that you might like to say. And I'm going to come down here. I'm going to start with Brandy first.
The topic is always a Wizzle topic is always an interesting one. Okay. I am just so glad that this topic remained on topic. Thank you, Paul. Okay. But it co-parenting is a journey. It's not an overnight, it's not going to be an overnight success. There's many different facets that go in into co-parenting. Okay. Your relationship with your parents, the relationships that you have entered into with the other parent, all of that is a part of, this co-parenting journey. So you just want to make sure that you do your part and do your part for as to what is best for your child. Okay, not for anybody else, but for your child. And it's not going to be easy. It's not always going to be roses, and you have to take the good with the bad. And sometimes you got to be the one to make the hard decision and humble yourself. I was bad at that, but it's okay, because you learn. Parenting is all about learning. There's no book to this. And as long as the two of you can get to a place where it's all about your child and not about anything else, then you'll go far. So again, this was a good topic. Thank you for inviting me.
Appreciate it. Hey,
I always love it here.
yeah, appreciate it. Always appreciate you. Always answer the call. You always on. So I appreciate that. But just to touch on the topic, sometimes backstage I'll ask everyone, do you have anything to bring up? So it depends on if we're doing a barbershop or doing whatever. I don't always like for the podcast to be all about what I have. I always make sure somebody else bring up a point that they may like to have. And with that being said, ain't nobody mad but the devil. And Brandon, I appreciate you every time answering that call. Let me come up here to Miss Dawn and see what she got.
Yeah, I thank you for having me on as well. My last closing thoughts are just stay open-minded and be self-aware enough to know that you will make mistakes and your ex-partner, co-parent will make mistakes, but definitely have some compassion and empathy and just work through it, communicate and look at the bigger picture. That is really the biggest piece of advice I can ever give anyone. Look at the bigger picture, not the small moment in time that's happening right in front of you. There is always a bigger picture. Stay open-minded and work together. You've got to work together to keep your kids happy and raise, productive members of society.
All right. Miss Sienna, what you got? Closing comments.
I don't really have no closing comments because I'm not really fully in the situation yet. I mean, if I ever get in the situation, then we can
have a part two. Okay.
Yeah, we can run it back. But if mommy and friends stay out of our business, then we'll be great. So yeah.
Good. All right. Well, ladies, I want to tell y'all, look, I appreciate each and every one of you. All of y'all have been on Wizzo Talk many times before. And I appreciate y'all answering the call, and hopefully y'all answer the call again. But I know you will later in the future if your schedule permits it. So with that being said, hey, I appreciate you, whether y'all watching it now or anyone's watching it later. This Paul Wizzo saying holla at your boy, and appreciate y'all for tuning in.